What is up, YouTube? It is Onion Bomb here, and welcome back, finally, to another Honkai Impact 3rd reaction video. Today, we are back on the playlist with only 10 videos left in its finest hour, final hour, and I seemingly abandoned. No, I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, I know 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point, I missed a week of uploading a Honkai video, or I think it took just a while to come out. I'm not sure if it was a whole week or not, but literally I just forgot to upload it. Like, I actually thought I uploaded it, but like I didn't like hit publish on it, so like I didn't like truly upload it. So I was like crap. And then one thing led to another, and I think that one got out late. And then last week, I managed to get out a South Park reaction, but that was all I could muster because I was a bit busy at first with like Christmas stuff, holiday celebrations and whatnot. I had a few things like that going on, but then immediately after that, I got a little sick on cue. And yeah, I didn't really record anything. I wasn't really feeling up to it. So we are back now though. We're back now though. So apologies. I had it I think it has been a while since I uploaded anything Honkai related. But yeah, let's get back to it. We are back. And like I said, we only have 10 videos left in this. Though I looked, I briefly left through. There's some longer ones left, so probably I think there's still, at very least, there's 2 playlist videos left. But I think there could even be 3 or maybe even 4, depending on how quickly I go through some of these on this playlist. So yeah, end of an era though for the channel for sure. For sure. I have to go back and look when I started, when I first started this, because it's definitely been a while. First up here, we are still in part 2 stuff. We have the connection between Dreamseeker and Layla explained. Homu Labs video, let's go.
Ever since Part 2 was first announced, Dreamseeker has been at the center of many controversies. In the beginning, many people were upset because they thought that they are a self-insert, given Hoyo's precedent with its newer titles, which attracted the criticism of many players. People felt like a self-insert would never be able to properly succeed Kiana as a protagonist for the main story, and that was a valid concern.
Oh dang! Homu Labs face reveal. I wasn't expecting that.
At the time, because we didn't know anything about Dreamseeker, and the fact that Hoyo revealed that we will be able to change the gender of the Dreamseeker only strengthened the belief that they are going to be a self-insert. Fast forward a couple of months and Part 2 launch, easing the fear that many people had in the beginning. Dreamseeker is not a self-insert. They are very much their own character, just like any character in the story. In that way, they were a lot more similar to Wise/Bell rather than Ether/Lumine or Kalo/Stella. Then we had the infamous Vita deleted the male Dreamseeker controversy. Many people liked John Honkai and wanted to play as him, but Hoyo said no males in this game. And from a narrative standpoint, I understand their decision. I think that they wanted to focus more on Layla and Dreamseeker, so they thought that having them look alike would be better. But at the same time, I also understand the frustration of the people who liked him. If you're gonna take him away after 4 chapters, why introduce him in the first place? Which, again, further propagates the narrative that Hoyo had a change in direction when it comes to Part 2's story.
It does
after
seem
the
like
initial
that.
reception. And
That
now,
like they kind of it could have maybe been a self-insert type of thing, but they kind of pivoted and then like gave the character, just went all in on the female version, giving the character more story. What I just don't get is like if you like, I believe they said you could like choose it, like male or female, unless that never like came out for that was just like a beta thing. I don't know, but if you chose male, is that like did it just like revert to female after a bit, or can you still do that, or did they just change them all? I don't know. But that is yeah, it's an interesting turn of events.
Here we are, with some people being mad at Hoyoverse for portraying Layla and Senadina's relationship as more like a mother and daughter, after baiting people into believing that they were romantically involved for a few chapters. And of course, because Dreamseeker is a data entity modeled after Layla, this also impacted them as well. I saw a lot of people confused, especially people who don't really play the game anymore, and their source of information are random Twitter posts and YouTube videos from people who don't really know anything about the lore. Shout out to you if you're one of them. So allow me to finally explain who is Dreamseeker, what's the relationship with Layla, and especially Senadina in the context of everything we know thus far. I also want to make a quick mention. This video will have some small tidbits of spoilers regarding chapter 10, nothing very important, but if you want to go it completely blind when it comes out on global, bookmark this video and come back later. But before that, if you're like me, you probably play multiple gacha games and of course Hoyoverse games. If that's the case, allow me to introduce you to Eneba. Eneba is an online marketplace where you can top up in all your favorite Hoyoverse games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero. The process is very simple. All you have to do is make an account, access the game you want to top up in, select your server and in-game UID, and you're done. If things are still complicated, do not worry. Eneba has a step-by-step guide tailor-made for each game that lets you understand extremely easy how to top up. Also, for those of you worried that you might get in trouble or that you might be at any kind of risk, you can put your mind at ease. Eneba offers official distribution for their top-up services, so your account is safe. The platform has many reviews and a long-standing history in selling games, with many offers on multiple platforms, so you don't have to worry. Eneba also has a loyalty program with many rewards for frequent Eneba users. So, don't miss out. Eneba is super fast, safe, and I've personally used it to top up in all the games I play. So, before you give in to the 50-50 guts, check out Eneba using the link in my description. It supports the channel and helps you get closer to C6ing your favorite character.
Oh, is it like the gacha part of the game? I actually didn't really understand what that was at first, but I guess that's like some of the buying of the part of Honkai. How old is this video? Oh, only 2 months. We're getting newer. I don't know if that sponsor is still valid, but hey, go for it if that's something. Yeah. So I sometimes watch videos on stream. Just anything that I get sent, and like some YouTubers have sponsors, and I sometimes some people can be like, why don't you skip them? But like, I don't know, I'm watching their video. I just like, especially for something like this, I might as well like help get their sponsorship out there as well. So if it's still valid, I don't know, some of the older stuff might not be still valid, but you never know. It's worth a try if you're in Nibba.
Huge thanks to Eneba for sponsoring this video.
Layla. I remember Layla.
In order to understand Dreamseeker, we first need to understand the person she's been modeled off, Layla. The relationship between Layla and Dreamseeker is a bit strange, and still not fully explored. But we know enough to say something for certain. Dreamseeker is not Layla. When Layla was first introduced in chapter 4, Dreamseeker had a line where she called Layla as herself. and to this day that specific line still makes many believe that they are the same person. You have to understand, at that time, Dreamseeker saw another person who looked just like them appearing out of nowhere. That line was them pointing out the similarities in appearance and not a statement confirming that they are the same person. Sure, some people took it that way because we knew nothing about Layla at that time, but now we know enough to say for certain that they are different people. Layla is the current goddess of Mars and the successor of Senadina. After Senadina, Naralab and Latost arrived on Mars and created the Martian civilization, Senadina took Layla in as a child to prepare her to become the next goddess of Mars. Those of you who played Chapter 9 know that Senadina comes from a planet blessed by the permanence, where the people were granted eternal life. But due to the unending war, Senadina chose to leave, casting aside her immortality. Since time was catching up with her, she had to prepare a successor for the day she's going to die. And Layla is that successor. Unfortunately, Layla developed an unhealthy obsession with Senadina during that time, which made her obsess over finding a way to reunite with her. After Senadina died and Layla took over, she slowly spiraled out of control, longing for Senadina and being unable to accept herself as a goddess. In her eyes, she was unworthy. Only Senadina was the true god. At the same time, she held a grudge against Naralab because she was the one who brought Senadina away from her planet and basically condemned her to die. Also, after she learned that Latost, who was previously Senadina's knight, wanted to leave her, she completely spiraled out of control and created the Curse of Shadows. During the second sector of part 2, Latost, seeing how Layla is unable to move on, planned to use his death to erase Senadina from Layla's memories and have her move on, but unfortunately failed and only made Layla crash out even harder. In the end, she was subdued by Hylia and Coralie. After the defeat of Perception in real life, we learned that Layla approached Ajita and tasked her with the creation of the Dreamseeker system, which is basically a system designed to recreate historic events from Mars's history and have an entity known as the Dreamseeker, who Layla specifically designed to look like her, clear different sectors and progress in a game. We do not fully understand the Dreamseeker system yet, or what does Layla want to accomplish with it, but we know for sure that it must be related to Senadina. At some point, Vita found the system and worked together with the Dreamseeker to clear the sectors. In that time, Dreamseeker failed numerous times. During the Mars exploration mission in 2024, Hylia and Coralie found the Dreamseeker system and entered inside the simulation, where they've met the Dreamseeker. They also brought the Dreamseeker terminal back to the moon base, where they would regularly enter and help Dreamseeker clear the sectors. Now that we explained the Dreamseeker system, let's talk about the Dreamseeker themselves. Dreamseeker is a digital life form and the main character, if you will, of the Dreamseeker system. I think that it's not too far-fetched to think of them as the protagonist of a game. Literally. Only if the protagonist was actually self-aware and had a personality. In the beginning, Layla requested that Ajita would add both a female version of the Dreamseeker called P1 and a male version called P2. It's important to note that despite being a male and female version, they are not separate people. This is not an Ether/Lumine or Y/Bell situation. The male version of Dreamseeker and the female version are the same person. Not only that, but Dreamseeker is gender fluid, being able to switch between male and female at will. So it's technically incorrect to say that Vita deleted the male Dreamseeker. In reality, Vita only deleted the male avatar for the Dreamseeker, and if you want to be 100% accurate, the reason why John Honkai got deleted was due to the lack of RAMs. So if you want to blame someone, blame Ajita instead. While initially the Dreamseeker lost their memories after each Samsara in the first sector, after clearing the first sector, they got to keep their memories
funny,
and they were even allowed to project outside the system into the real world. After clearing the second sector, they even got back their previous memories while working with Vita. Another important thing to point out is that while the female avatar for the Dreamseeker is based on Layla's appearance, they are very different when it comes to their personality personalities. Layla is a lot more emotional, obsessing over Senadina, always doubting herself, and while it was clear that she wasn't really a bad person in the beginning, the constant suffering and betrayal from the people close to her drove her to become pretty unstable. On the other hand, Dreamseeker is a lot more rational and far less emotional than Layla. While we saw instances where Layla's feelings influenced her, like her strong obsession with Senadina in chapter 4, they are very different when it comes to their personalities. During chapter 9EX, Dreamseeker and Vita came up with a plan to skip a few sectors and reach Layla directly. After the two finally met, Layla was angry and tried to break Dreamseeker's will by showing her a reality where the people around her abandon her, practically trying to make her inherit her will and become just as obsessive and unstable. And in my opinion, this is the point where we see the difference in their personalities the most. Because, unlike Layla, Dreamseeker managed to get over those feelings of loneliness and despair and moved on despite Layla's plan to break her. In the end, Dreamseeker absorbed Layla's powers and managed to move on to the last sector, to a moment in time where Senadina was still alive. Now, this is where things get complicated and people are confused. In the last sector, we met Senadina Naralab and a child version of Layla, revealing to us the fact that the relationship between Layla and Senadina was familial and not romantic in any sense. Senadina was the one who raised Layla ever since she was a child, so this obsession that Layla has over her is a lot more like a child constantly wanting to be around her mother. And due to the similar appearances between Layla and Dreamseeker, some people started attributing the same kind of relationship between Dreamseeker and Senadina as well, which caused a little bit of controversy. I want to make something clear. Since Dreamseeker and Layla are not the same person, and no, Dreamseeker is not future Layla, I don't think it's fair to apply the same lenses as you do with Layla and Senadina. Senadina didn't raise Dreamseeker. Actually, I'm pretty sure Dreamseeker never had a childhood per se. Anyway, the idea is that the Dreamseeker has her own unique relationship with Senadina that is separate from Layla's. Dreamseeker first met Senadina in a dream in chapter 1 where she gifted her the astral rings. After the dream, she woke up in the Sea of Data and met another version of Senna who lacked the memories of their previous encounter. During that time, Dreamseeker and Senadina developed their own relationship that could be seen as friendship, romantic, or however you want to interpret it. Look, I'm really not into the shipping culture, so I'm not going to comment on that since I don't really care about it. But to say that Senadina and
Me neither, to be honest. But I could see how this whole thing might like ruffle a few feathers with like Layla, Dreamseeker, the other Senadina, the new Senadina, and the other it's definitely a bit complicated. But yeah.
Cannot have a romantic relationship because of Layla. It's not really fair, to be honest. These are two different people with two different personalities and interactions with Senadina. While yes, the relationship between Senadina and Layla is more likely familial, that doesn't apply to Senadina and Dreamseeker. My point is that they are not the same people. If you want to ship them, go ahead. My concern is less about shipping since, well, I'm not really into that, that's not the reason I played the game, but more so about lore accuracy, because I saw many people promoting the narrative that Dreamseeker and Layla are the same person when they are not.
Just for playable Layla. A Layla battle suit coming soon. Also, a nice new style from Homu instead of the sprite. You just used the face cam, but yeah, very nice. I like the sprite too, but just interesting change up. But yeah, okay, so that I don't know if I didn't think they were the same people. I don't know. The other videos, I knew they were like connected in some way, but yeah, I'm not sure if I thought that they were the same people. And that cleared it up. I apologize. I'm trying for this, but it's just like when I like talk for too long, I have to like cough. I'm like good. I'm like better now. I just getting over like symptoms, but that's why I haven't been able to post in a bit. But yeah, Layla and I think Layla and Dreamseeker looking similar. I mean, they really don't with like the certain designs, but I guess like them like looking similar. I think that was the whole thing. Why they thought they were the same person. I was like they do look similar, but I guess if like not just to dip into this just a little. I'm gonna get right back out because I don't want to. I'm not really like picking a side or anything. I'm just saying I could see how if someone were to be shipping like Layla and not Layla, Dreamseeker and Cena, and then to have like Cena and Layla have like a mother daughter relationship, and Layla looks like Dreamseeker. It kind of like, well, that aspect might be a little bit like weird, like having like Cena be in a relationship with someone who looks like almost identical to the mom, or at least similar to like the mom figure. I don't know, but there's two Cenas though. That also doesn't really work. It's just I can see how it gets a little messy. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying anything. I don't really. I'm not into shipping stuff. Only like if it's like if like romance is the plot. Like if we're talking about like a romance anime or like a romance movie or whatever, then yeah, if we're at the plot maybe. And maybe like certain situations where like it wasn't exactly the plot, but it kind of had some nice moments, or it kind of let you be like, hey, this is probably gonna happen, and if it doesn't, it's implied that it could. Like for like example, like My Hero, I kind of shipped like Deku and Uraraka, but that's not why I watched the whole show. I watched the whole show for like the plot line and like the action and whatnot. But just like a quick example, just a few ones like that. But typically, I'm not a shipper. And I mean, for Honkai stuff, there've been some nice scenes. Like if of course I see what they're doing with like back in with Himiko, not Himiko, Kiana and Mei had a complete brain fart there, and then Bronya and Seele. They do seem to have like a lot of characters in this like going deep into stuff, like have like a pair, it seemed, at least somebody. But like it doesn't. They never really like they like to keep it up in the air, and this is probably going way too far. But I feel like they do that to maybe get away with it. Like it could be like this could be romantic. I think even Homu explained it could be seen as friendly, romantic. I feel like they have a lot that could go either way, and I Toyo is like a Chinese company, so I get kind of the stuff over there, but anyway, I was probably going too deep down other rabbit holes, but yeah, that was a good video though. Cleared some things up for sure.
Holy plot.
Okay, we got Homu again. This does seem like this is the new format. And it's only 1 month old, so we are getting very, very new here. Very, very new. New imaginary tree and Sea of Quanta lore reveal. What we got?
For such a seemingly chill chapter, the lore reveals are crazy. In one moment we are having a pillow fight, and in the next one we get more imaginary truancy of Quanta lore. This chapter was a roller coaster in the truest sense of the word. I initially thought that this will be just a transitional chapter where we just fool around and lay out the foundation of the next story arc, and that's pretty much how it was, to be honest. But we also got some lore revelations that answered some of my long-standing questions. The lore is exploring right now, and I feel like things are about to get a lot more crazier in the upcoming chapters. And you know what? I'm all here for it. Hello! In today's video we are going to take a deep dive into all the crazy lore revelations from chapter 10 of part 2. But before that, a word from
another
our
sponsor.
If you are like me, you probably play multiple gacha
Oh,
games.
is this the same one?
And of course,
Oh, if it's
Hoyoverse
hey, this one might be still
if that's
valid
the
then.
case, allow me
If
to
it's
introduce
within
you
2
to
months, maybe.
Eneba. Eneba is an online marketplace where you can top up in all your favorite Hoyoverse games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero. The process is very simple. All you have to do is make an account, access the game you want to top up in, select your server and in-game UID, and you're done. If things are still complicated, do not worry. Eneba has a step-by-step guide tailor-made for each game that lets you understand extremely easy how to top up. Also, for those of you worried that you might get in trouble or that you might be at any kind of risk, you can put your mind at ease. Eneba offers official distribution for their top-up services, so your account is safe. The platform has many reviews and a long-standing history in selling games with many offers on multiple platforms, so you don't have to worry. Eneba also has a loyalty program with many rewards for frequent Eneba users. So, don't miss out. Eneba is super fast, safe, and I've personally used it to top up in all the games I play. So, before you give in to the 50-50 guts, check out Eneba using the link in my description. It supports the channel and helps you get closer to C6ing your favorite character. Again, huge thanks to Eneba for sponsoring this video. This chapter truly came out of the left field and said, you want lore? Here's lore. So, a quick recap. In the last chapter, we skipped a couple of sectors and Dreamseeker finally got to face Layla. After a failed attempt from Layla to persuade Dreamseeker to go back, Dreamseeker absorbed a part of Layla's powers and got a new drip. And then we arrived in Defang, the first city on Mars established by Senadina a long time ago. There we meet the goddess version of Senadina, who is still alive at this point of time. We also meet other familiar faces like Naralab and a child version of Layla. Yes, we are in a timeline where she's not a freak with an unhealthy obsession for Senadina. Okay, she still is, but she's a child here, so it's cute. From the very first moment we arrived in Defang, it was very obvious that there is more to this place. And to Senadina. While she's still the kind and bubbly Sena that we all know, this version seems a lot more cunning than the Senadina from the first chapters. And it makes sense. Here she's the goddess of this world after all, so she must be able to keep an eye out for her people. One thing that is clear is the fact that she's hiding something from us, and while she says that she doesn't know us, even trying to gaslight Dreamseeker into thinking that the Senna she knows is another person, it's clear that she's at least somewhat aware of who Dreamseeker is. First, when Dreamseeker tried to use her shadow powers, Senna took notice of that, but it brushed it off like it was nothing. Then, she basically admitted that Dreamseeker looked like a grown-up version of Layla, hinting at the fact that she realized that there is a connection between these two. But at the same time, it's also clear that she is not the Senadina the Dreamseeker knew. There are a few theories I have regarding who that Senna really is. She might be a similar being to Dreamseeker, but based on Senadina instead, another digital life form created by another party to explore the
That would
Martian
make sense.
quantum computer. And it makes sense, since at the end of the day, this is a simulation. So, the current Senadina is not the real one. Another thing that we learned this chapter, I mean, we learned it previously as well, but this chapter truly cemented that fact, is that dreams exist outside the confinements of time, meaning that it doesn't matter from which moment in time someone is from, they can still interact with others from the future or the past inside the dreams. The goddess we met in chapter 1 might be the real Senadina before she died, who learned through dream seeking the truth about Mars's future and tried to intervene by sending her own dream seeker into the system from the past, which is the Senna that we first met. This is just speculation on my part, so take it with a grain of salt. There are also the strange flashbacks from chapter 3X between Dreamseeker and Senna, which make absolutely no sense right now, but they clearly imply that there's more between these two that we are not aware of right now. One thing that wasn't really explained last chapter is what happened to Layla, but we finally learned that Dreamseeker absorbed only a small part of her powers, and that Layla simply allowed her to visit Defang because she's curious to see how far Dreamseeker can go by defying her will.
Hold on, I wanna... Who is this guy? Julian? This is 1 month ago. Does it mean November 29th? Dang. Oh yeah, I'm recording this on New Year's. Happy New Year's. Everyone, first Honkai video in 2026. I had no idea the last video was gonna be the last. I thought I'd at least get 1 or 2 more, but I didn't. Apologies. But yeah, this was so. This is like this was almost like weeks new. So it's I'm really just coming. Everything is like coming together. I mean, really and we're really almost caught up with this. Crazy.
Another very suspicious thing regarding Defang is that if you are paying attention to the NPCs in Osha, you probably realized very quickly that Defang and Osha share the same NPCs. And no, I'm not saying that Hoyoverse got lazy and just reused assets. They also have the same names and everything, implying that they are basically the same people. And this is where we learn that the people in Osha, who were thought to be born from the Sea of Data, are actually people from different periods of time who fell into the Sea of Data and respawned in Osha without their memories. One thing that really bothered me last arc was how did Chen Shui live over 100 years? They explain it very clearly how people like the Seven Shoes or even Scudder can live a lot longer than normal people by using the power of the shadows. But as far as we knew, Chen Shui never really had them. So it didn't make any sense for her, who was born 100 years prior to when we first meet her in Osha, to still be alive. Well, now we know. At some point she fell into the Sea of Data and was transported into the future like the rest. And I am very glad that Hoyo addressed this, because to be honest, it was really bothering me, and I already made peace with myself that we are never getting an explanation regarding this. But I was wrong. We also learned that Yun Yun, Dreamseeker and Chen Shui's mentor in Osha, is also from Defang. Since so many people from Defang fell into the Sea of Data, the cast speculates that something big is about to happen here that will cause them to fall in. We also learn that Mars exists in a state of imbalance between the imaginary tree and the Sea of Quanta, with the Sea of Quanta overtaking the imaginary tree, which causes the corruption of the Sea of Quanta that Mars faces. I never expected more lore about the conflict between the imaginary tree and the Sea of Quanta. We haven't got anything about that ever since Ado. I assume that when a world is in a balanced state, like Earth, it can exist on the imaginary tree without issues. But when the Sea of Quanta overtakes the imaginary tree, you get, well, Mars. And this also gives us a glimpse into how different worlds can be destroyed and fall into the Sea of Quanta in a way. We also learn that Senadina used her divine powers to anchor Mars to a branch close to the Sea of Quanta, which allowed the civilization on Mars to grow and flourish, but it also created the Sea of Data in the process, which it seems to be a warped form of the Sea of Quanta born from this constant tug of war between the tree and the sea. I cannot understate how big of a lore reveal this is, because it does not only explain why Mars was destroyed and why it was able to exist in this state, but it also shows us that each planet, even in the same solar system, can exist in a different tree/sea structure from one another. Now, let's talk about the other big revelation we got this chapter, and that is the fact that Senadina met Kiana and Vita in a dream. This isn't really something new. We literally saw Senadina and Kiana meet inside the dream just before part 2 started. But now we also have the added factor of Vita, and this explains another thing that wasn't previously known about the story, and that's Vita's involvement with Mars. It was hinted throughout the story that Vita has some connections with Mars, but that never made sense since, well, Vita was born way after Senadina died and Mars was destroyed. But as we established that dreams exist outside the confinements of time, this makes a lot more sense now. One of the main things I want to get an explanation for in the next chapters is how the heck is the Cocoon of Finality involved in all of this? Dreamseeker remarks that from Coralie's account, Senadina didn't have the authority of shadows while she was on Laquadar, so this means that this is a power she obtained after leaving her planet and after arriving on Mars. We also know that she was involved with the Cocoon of Finality somehow in the past, so like I theorized in some of my previous videos, the authority of shadows might be something she obtained after she interacted with the Cocoon of Finality, and it makes sense, the authority of shadow works very much like Ursher powers. I assume that the dream Kiana is trapped in right now is also related to the Cocoon of Finality and Mars, and I hope that we will expand on that in the future, especially since Kiana sent a message last chapter to Rice Cake where she said that time is running out. What did she mean by that? I have no idea, but I am very excited to learn more about this in the future chapters. Also, Sparkle. Where the heck is Sparkle, Hoyo? And look, I am not giving this up. I will keep asking until they give us an answer. I don't believe that they just forgot about her after teasing future story events with her. There is just no way. In the first sector, we visited Mars, ravaged by the shadow calamity that was born from Layla's sorrow. At the end of the sector, we beat the Wheel of Shadow, an incarnation of the calamity itself that manifested after Baiji failed to harness the power of the Zodiac Astral Ring. In the second sector, we tackled the shadow calamity at its source, which is Layla, and prevented it from bringing Mars into the state that we saw in the first sector. And now this very much gives me final arc vibes. We are at the point where we might find out the origins of the authority of shadows and finally get ourselves involved with the Cocoon of Finality. Like I previously said, this really seems like the final story arc of Mars, and I'm curious to see how this will develop. It is important to note that Dawei said that part 2 is the story of the solar system, so part 2 might not necessarily be over once we wrap things up on Mars. Now, it also might be over, I don't know, but I try to have a more open mind regardless of what Dawei said. We might go to other places and uncover more mysteries regarding our solar system, maybe even incorporating the story of APHO into part 2 somehow, who knows. All I can say is that I'm very excited for the future of the story. But let me know what you thought about this chapter in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, and see you guys next time.
If you want to see Sparkle again. Interesting. If we are in like the final arc of Mars. Yeah, I mean, if they say they explore the solar system, you'd think that would mean a little more than Mars. So if they like do another planet. I mean, I'm assuming Earth and the Moon are already taken care of. They'd be like another planet. I don't, not sure which, but if it's the end of part two, um, definitely that seemed a lot shorter than part one and stuff. So I don't know if they're gonna go into the like. I know there was like a timeline thing. I don't know if there's like they're gonna do like a part three kind of thing. If there's gonna that's gonna bring them all together or APHO type. I don't know, but interesting. Very very interesting. Definitely recent lore drop. And shout out to Homu Labs. Alright, this next one is perfect timing. Because as I mentioned, I am recording this on New Year's, but best story moments of 2025 Honkaiimpact 3rd. I think this was a new. Oh, yeah, this was only uploaded a day ago. I think this is a new addition. Like I think there was a video added. Because like I said, this is a dynamic playlist. It's still getting updates, so there may be a time after if there's like enough videos that get added after I'm done with it. I probably will return to it to watch some more stuff. But yeah, this is a pretty fitting video here. I think this video and then the next one, because the next one's only like 3 minutes, it's like an official trailer thing. Um, I think that's gonna be it for today. And I did the math quickly in my head, looking ahead in the playlist. I think there's going to be 2 more videos on this playlist. 2 more videos, bearing anything gets more videos get added. Then maybe if like a bunch of videos get added, maybe it'll be a little bit more. But if nothing gets added for now in the next 2 weeks or something, I think that'll do it. And I kind of, I'm not trying to look ahead too much. I don't know if that's considered like spoilers or whatnot. I just made a look at the timestamps. Like, kind of glance at the titles. It looks like after this, there actually might be Honkai Star Rail related. Might be like a comparison to 3, or maybe it still has some stuff to 3, but that might have been it as far as Honkaiimpact 3rd lore stuff goes. Which is another thing that's like crazy. So yeah, let's get into this. Best story moments of 2025.
2025 is coming to an end, and what a year! When it comes to Honkaiimpact 3rd, 2025 marked the first year in the history of the game where the length of the patches have been increased from 6 weeks to around 9 weeks. This meant that unlike before, when we got around 8 patches per year, this year we only got 6. Well, technically
patches?
7, since 8.6 starts right.
I know what patches are. Is that just like patching the game? I'm assuming it doesn't mean like patching like bugs and stuff. I mean, like, do we get like updates? Like, is that when they update the story and stuff? Maybe, I don't know.
The day before the end of the year, but I will not be counting it for this video. So, because of this change in schedule, this year we got less content than we usually did, but that does not mean that the content we got was bad by any means. On the contrary, we got some incredible moments in the story that, in my opinion, are not only the best moments of part 2, but some of them can rival the best moments of the game overall. This is why I decided a few days ago to ask you guys what was your favorite story moment of Honkaiimpact 3rd in 2025, and based on your answers and my personal choices, make a video to commemorate the end of the year and celebrate the most hype, emotional, beautiful and overall loved moments of Honkaiimpact 3rd story in 2025. Keep in mind that I also include moments from events as well, not just the main story. So, without further ado...
Oh.
Wait. Give me a moment. Hello? Huh? What's this? One last ad read for the year. If you are like me, you probably play multiple gacha
Oh, is it
games,
still? Okay, yeah, this is still a sponsor. This is the same one. Wait,
Hoyoverse games. If that's the case,
maybe it's the same
allow me to introduce you to Eneba.
No, it's the same one. So I put there you go. Okay. So yeah, this is still a valid
Genshin
sponsor.
Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero. The process is very simple. All you have to do is make an account, access the game you want to top up in, select your server and in-game UID, and you're done. If things are still complicated, do not worry. Eneba has a step-by-step guide tailor-made for each game that lets you understand extremely easy how to top up. Also, for those of you worried that you might get in trouble or that you might be at any kind of risk, you can put your mind at ease. Eneba offers official distribution for their top-up services, so your account is safe. The platform has many reviews and a long-standing history in selling games with many offers on multiple platforms, so you don't have to worry. Eneba also has a loyalty program with many rewards for frequent Eneba users. So, don't miss out. Eneba is super fast, safe, and I've personally used it to top up in all the games I play. So, before you give in to the 50-50 gods, check out Eneba using the link in my description.
That's why I left it like every time.
Helps you get closer to C6ing your favorite character. Again, huge thanks to Eneba for sponsoring this video. Number 10. Kiana and Cecilia's interaction. Bon voyage towards blessings and wishes. Version 8.3.
准备惊喜，我却差点搞砸了一切，还害得你们所有人为我担心。明明你、老爸还有幽兰戴尔都是很优秀的人。
This year, we've been blessed by a new series of events in the bustling holiday timeline where, well, everybody lives and somehow timelines do not matter. Don't think too much about it. It's just a fun event timeline where the Saint Freya cast can interact with the Flame Chasers, and as you've guessed, a timeline where Cecilia is alive. Although in my opinion this event was very inconsistent in terms of writing and quality, it had some very good moments. One of them was the interaction between Cecilia and Kiana. Although brief, many people who read the second eruption back in the day always wanted to see a world where Cecilia can live in peace with her daughters. And this is exactly what we got. Cecilia
Kiana
confronting Kiana and talking about how her birth was the best gift she could ever give her was one of the highlights of the event for me. This moment almost made me shed a tear and I couldn't stop smiling while playing this part. So, because of this, I decided to add it to this video. Number 9. The Meeting of the Three Goddesses. Part 2. Chapter 10. Chapter 10 had many crazy lore revelations, like the truth behind the people who suddenly appeared in the Osha from the Sea of Data, the relationship between the imaginary tree and the Sea of Quanta on Mars. But the one thing that truly took people by surprise the most was the fact that we learned that Goddess Nadina met with Vita and Kiana inside a dream in the past. This was a major lore bomb that might have something to do with Kiana being asleep and her message to the rest of the cast from Chapter 9 EX. The truth behind Mars and how everything is connected back to Vita, Kiana and the Cocoon of Finality is closer and closer to being revealed, and I cannot wait to see more. Number 8. Coralie's Awakening, Part 2, Chapter 9.
星の竜よ空をかけ世を砕き星を追え終焉あれど因果は不朽
This year brought a lot of needed development for Hylia and Coralie, and when I say development, I'm not referring only to personal and character development, no. They also gained some pretty cool powers as well. Although Coralie's design brought quite a lot of conflicting opinions regarding the amount of clothing she has, in the end I like the idea behind it. The Dark Lord has finally awakened as a Dragon Lord of Permanence. Not to mention that we got to learn a lot more about the Path of Permanence through her interactions with Nana and Naralab. Number 7. Rice Cake's development ongoing Make-A-Wish Fest patch 8.1. Rice Cake was one of those characters from which I didn't expect much when I first saw her. I was like, haha, cute snake gag character. So you can imagine how surprised I was when I realized how much love and development this tiny creature got from the devs. Going from just a piece of Kiana's powers that got awakened in the form of a cute snake inside the dream, to doubting herself and her worth in Kiana's life, to accepting who she is and opening up to the people around her. Her interactions with Kiana were truly precious, and I am glad to see that she even got to appear in the main story later on. Rice Cake is part of the gang now, and I couldn't be happier to have her. Number 6. Dreamseeker confronting Layla, Part 2, Chapter 9EX.
何を知らせようとしてるの？
Dreamseeker also had quite a few important moments this year, but the highlight of her character development came in Chapter 9EX, when she finally got to confront Layla face to face. Layla tried everything she could to sway Dreamseeker's resolve and make her go back and continue her task given to her, but Dreamseeker opposed her and held true to her own ideals until the end, showing once and for all that she is not Layla and that they are two different people. In the end, she ended up absorbing a part of Layla's authority and got an awesome new drip. Number 5. Hylia's Descent into Madness, Part 2, Chapter 7.
次はあるの？
That's the Helia stuff.
Watching Hylia go down the path of revenge and losing herself bit by bit in her pursuit of Litost was quite shocking. What surprised me the most when it came to the moments when she would tap into Revenge Spirit's powers and literally lose parts of herself was how raw those moments were portrayed. In a way, her despair was shown perfectly, and Hoyo didn't shy away from showing us how far she is willing to go in order to kill the Toast in that moment. Hylia's journey cemented itself as one of the best character development arcs in the entire game for me. Number 4.
It did seem pretty
Flame
good.
Chasers vs. the Hershorop Corruption Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. Assemble Summer Friendship Resort Event Patch 8.4.
だってこれは楽園で紡がれた愛の物語なんだもの。
If you would have told me at the beginning of 2025 that we are going to get a new story involving the Flame Chasers this year, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But Hoyo decided to write the coattails of Euphorius and Cyrene in HSR and brought back Alicia and the Flame Chasers in a new event storyline that was surprisingly good. Look, during the main story I saw a lot of people empathize with the Hershorop corruption and wishing that things could have ended on a better note for them. Well, if you are one of those people, you will love this event. This is basically a reimagining of Elysian Realm in a more chill and serious manner where everybody gets a happy ending at the end of the day instead of, you know, dying. The Hershorop corruption still crashes out, but at the end of the day, they have a nice conversation with Alicia about what it means to be loved that is very touching and deep, and things end up on a much brighter note. So if you want to re-experience CR in a more recontextualized way where the Hershorop corruption gets a somehow happy ending, you will love this
That's
event.
cool.
It's permanently available so you can play it whenever you want.
Some of these events seem
Number
pretty
3. Coralie and Hylia's Reunion Part 2 Chapter 9.
よかった。 かった。もう二度と会えないかと思ってたよ。この無念を晴らせないまま、あんたを失った後悔の中で生き続けるんだって思ってた。
We left 2024 on a pretty sad note with Coralie dying, and we've waited the entire first half of 2025 to finally see a
that took
reunion
that
between
long.
the two. So when it finally happened, let me tell you, it didn't disappoint. It's just a nice feeling to see the relationship between these two evolve from two people who couldn't stand 2 minutes near each other without fighting to what we have now, them becoming two people who give off old married couple vibes. Number 2. Helia's Awakening, Part 2, Chapter 8.
So this is really the Helia stuff.
嘘だ。みんな嘘つきだ。
Like I previously said, Helia's journey and development were the highlights of the year for me. Watching her sink to the depths of despair after losing Coralie, then rise again and confront Revenge Spirit, culminating with her inherit
So I've had to pause a few times during this recording.
her better suit and finally moving past her insecurities and growing into a powerful Valkyrie that can stand proud even in front of the Randall was such a delight. What a character! From one of the most boring and insignificant characters in the first arc of Part 2 to probably the best character in Part 2 as of now. Helia really cemented herself as my favorite character in this new cast. But please, don't let Selema know that I said this. And now, before we are moving on to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Revenge Spirit killing her comrade. Part 2, Chapter 7. This was such a crazy, messed up scene. What is wrong with you, Hoyoverse? Chinese New Year celebration cutscene. Countdown
that
to
was
Sweet
cool.
Dreams, patch 8.0.
Did they do another
A very well-made cutscene showcasing Kiana's new
Year's
battlesuit
cutscene?
and marking the end of the event. Helia vs. Latoast, Part 2, Chapter 8. I want to highlight the fight between the two. Although Revenge Spirit stole the show, it was nice seeing Helia finally beating Latoast after losing so much before. And now, number 1, as you all expected, is Helia and Coralie versus Crown of Seclusion, Part 2, Chapter 9.
大魔王コラリー様だからね。勝敗を決める時だよ。手間のかかる相棒。一度くらい私の名前をちゃんと呼んでよ。やだ。
Absolute cinema.
Look, I don't think anyone is surprised about this. Even when I
That
asked
was
you
pretty
guys
sick.
what is your favorite story moment from 2025, the majority of you pointed out this boss fight. And it is well deserved. This is the boss fight against Layla's minions that marked the end of the
Isn't that the
second
one that had,
story
like, a
arc of
split
Part 2.
screen, I
We
think,
already
too?
knew from the Perception boss fight from last year that Hoyo goes all out when it comes to final story boss fights, but they really surpassed all expectations with this one. This boss fight had everything. Hype music, plenty of cinematic cutscenes, innovating gameplay moments like the split screen controls,
Yeah,
a
that was
plethora of cute
fire.
EVs, sick transitions to different arenas. What more can you add? It's also the culmination of Hylia and Coralie's character arcs, where we see them fight together and using their newly acquired powers. For me, this was the best boss fight in the entire game. Now, this was the best boss fight in any Hoyoverse game that I played until today. Kudos to the Honkai team for this one. So, ladies and gentlemen,
big
were
praise.
my best story moments of Honkai Impact 3rd in 2025. Let me know in the comments what were yours. I wish you a happy new year, and may 2026
Thank you.
bring us even more epic, emotional and beautiful moments in the game.
Indeed.
Take care.
And Onion Bomb reaction. That was a good list. And yeah, definitely. I remember seeing all that throughout this playlist and throughout these reactions. So except for the events, I take that back. I didn't see the events. The events seem pretty cool as well. Especially the Elysian Realm one. But yeah, very good video. Shout out to Homu Labs. This one was uploaded, like I just said, a day ago, so make sure you guys go over and peep it and give it a like. If this is the first you're seeing it, normally the ones are we're talking months old. I don't think I've seen it. This is the first Homo Labs video I think I watched that wasn't more than a month old. I don't know if I even seen one that said weeks ago, you know. But yeah, some very cool Honkai stuff, and perfect for the new year, or to round up the new year. And that boss fight, you know, I knew I was watching something pretty cool when I first dropped. I first reacted to that. But yeah, from Homu Labs himself, the best boss fight in the entire game. There were some pretty cool ones. I mean, I agree. I don't know, from looks, it's definitely one of the more visual ones, but maybe there's some ones that if you actually play them, you know, there's someone. But wonder what my list would be when I actually play. Oh, we'll see. I guess we'll have to see about that. All in due time, I suppose. All in due time. But that was a good, definitely a very good list. And yeah, here's to 2026 for more Honkai stuff, reactions from me, and stuff in general. Very splendid. And we got one more quick thing here before we end it off here. We got Honkaiimpact 3rd, Reburn 2, concept animated short. This one is 4 years old. It's an official upload. I have seen it before. Yet it's all the way down here. Let me see what this is. Is that Carol Peppers? I think that is.
綺麗やけど彼女には見えへんのか。
Oh, is this the rocket thing? Oh, the train. I like trains. So is this like a prequel at the time, or in the future? I guess that's not the right word. Oh yeah, Welt and Carol. Does this have anything to do with Star Rail? I know that's their thing now, and Welt's in there, but there's no Carol.
4番ホームグラフィックコントロールを開始いたします。
That's trippy.
幸運はいずれまた訪れる。君が持っているスズランの花言葉だ。
The boba tea.
このお守り
I never had that before, but like, I don't know if I'd like it. It's I don't know if I'd like drinking the bowls or something. And that's they're in the straw like.
今の私ができることはこれくらいかな。ベルトさん、うちまた夢見たんや。
Interesting. Cool. I'm assuming this is gonna do with something Honkai Star Rail related. Maybe we'll probably find out next time because I think they're gonna go into it. So next time we're gonna be returning to Potato Almanac, and it's why are people talking about these Star Rail characters? So yeah, the next two. Not only the next two. Might be the last. Oh, jeez, I've been drinking a lot of water. I've been drinking a lot of water. You need to keep hydrated when you're sick. But the next two videos of this, of me reacting to this playlist, not only I think they're gonna be the last, but I think they're gonna be heavily Star Rail related, which I've said this before. I've played it, but just to remind anyone who's I don't know who's what's. Also, I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to speak English, but I also don't know what video is someone's first. So if this is someone's first video, they may not know this and may be curious. I have played a little bit of Honkai Star Rail. In fact I even streamed it. My one friend recommended it to me, and I did this also with Honkaiimpact 3rd a little bit. I have the VOD saved. I do plan on releasing those at some point, and then maybe even going further and doing like more gameplay videos. And that's just one of the many things I do to have in mind to keep alive the Hoyoverse and Honkai stuff on the channel, because we are definitely not done, especially after this playlist. I know if they'll definitely gonna be coming back to Honkaiimpact 3rd stuff. I know if Star Rail may not be the same something I don't know, something you're looking into, but there's gonna be more Honkaiimpact 3rd related stuff on the channel for sure. But yeah, two more looks like, once again, barring additions, 2 more, and then we'll be done with this playlist, which, oh man, end of an era, but not completely end of an era, because we're not completely done with Honkai stuff. It is exciting though. For this one though, that is gonna do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you for bearing with me, because I know especially Honkai uploads have been a little choppy. I think it was like I missed a week and uploaded, and missed another week, and now it's this week, and I even may miss this a little bit too. I'm gonna try to get this up as soon as possible to get back to uploading, but still still a wee bit sick. I'm good for the most part, but it's just getting back into the swing of things. Like, it reminds me of when I was sick back in school. I had to like catch up with the work and it will happen, but it kind of threw me for a loop there. So thank you guys though for watching though and sticking with me. Until next time, where we near the end of this playlist, like or dislike, subscribe or don't subscribe, it's always up to you. I will see you guys in the next video. You watch for me. Goodbye.